some breaking news right now from Deadline that's being reported that Saturday Night Live is adding 3 new cast members as Chloe Trost departs the show. This is news. Did not know this in advance. This is just being reported so far, I see, by Deadline. Looks like this just came out 2 minutes ago. So we're going to interrupt our coverage of the greatest hosts of all time for a few minutes to talk about this news that was breaking live here on the SNN. So according to Deadline, SNL adds Ashley Padilla, Emil Wakim, and Jane Wickline to the cast for season 50, promotes trio as Chloe Trost departs the show. Incredible news here. So Ashley, Emil, and Jane, I actually did hear that they all auditioned. So these were some names that I have heard recently. Chloe leaving after 1 season is huge news. That is definitely something that she probably did on her own. I don't know what to make of that right now as we do process this live, but going off of this news here, as we get to learn about these 3 cast members, and behind the scenes, we have some people who are going to work up some bios on them, and we'll talk about this. Bill Kenny, what is your reaction to this news breaking live here on the SNN?
I'm devastated about Chloe. I don't understand how that's possible. I think she had one of the better first-year featured players that we've seen in the last 5 to 10 years, especially finding her niche with the music on the show. Getting to see her this summer and getting to see how excited she was to be on SNL. And this is really kind of shocking. This is not something I expected to her. I'm not familiar with any of the 3 that were just mentioned, so I will be doing my research and finding out about that. But yeah, that's just a gut punch to hear about Chloe.
Yeah, so obviously we had 3 departures then with Punky, Chloe, and Molly here. So basically, this is my understanding of the timeline of things, which this news I did not expect to come out tonight. My understanding was that, so basically the process is they go out, they go see some people, then they bring them in for auditions. Last Wednesday night, Wednesday, September 4th, was the callback date. I believe that there was 8 people that were called back last Wednesday. Then they decided who they were going to move forward with. Then they would meet with Lorne Michaels. That was, I believe, was done on Friday. So that I did know about that. And I believe that today was contract day. So as far as I was concerned, there were people added to the cast today. I don't think that the news was expected to be broken tonight. So this may be a little bit of a leaked news thing. So we aren't necessarily prepared to talk about these 3, but I do want to get some reaction from Thomas Senna here to talk about the departure of Chloe Trost, and then we'll get into these 3 new people. Thomas, go ahead.
Yeah, with Chloe, that's definitely a shock. We just did on the SNL Hall of Fame an episode on Garrett Morris, and I had mentioned Chloe as one of the handful of best singers that the show had ever seen, along with the likes of Cecily, of course, Garrett, and Anna Gasteyer. I'd mentioned Chloe in that. She had some really good moments, even over the summer when the Australian breakdancer was a big thing, and she did her routine at the Olympics. Chloe did some fun stuff online, parroting and the Australian breakdancer Raygun. I think that was her name. So Chloe was doing some fun stuff even over the summer. Had me looking forward to what she could do in her second season. So this is a very much a shock. Chloe, I saw a lot of promise for. Wasn't like other maybe 1 season cast members where I'm like, well, I can see why they left, or they're, it didn't seem like a right fit. With Chloe, it did seem like a good fit. So that's a shocker.
Definitely a shocker. I think she left on her own accord, guys, because I don't think that there was any indication that she was being let go. I think they were really excited about what they got from Chloe Trost. So either Chloe got another opportunity that she couldn't miss, but her connection to Please Don't Destroy, I just feel like Chloe's future here at the show was so bright. Like with Molly and with Punky, we were in a way, ready to write the end of the story, because we just never saw, the growth potential. But 1 season, Chloe Trost was a very decent rookie. We just talked about Emma Stone. Make your own kind of music. I mean, that's Mama Cass there. And I think that she had an incredible, first half of the year. We talked about, sort of her in the Adam Driver episode having a little bit of a stunt there. But then I felt like, by the time we got to the Sydney Sweeney episode, Chloe Trost was doing really good. She was back at it. And as, we headed down the stretch with Ryan Gosling, where they had the pre-tape, the music video that she did with Gosling and Chris Stapleton, I thought she was fantastic in that. So to me, like, I had really high hopes for Chloe Trost this season. Pretty disappointed about that. So Bill, any other comments on Trost?
Yeah, just running top of mind, without knowing for sure, but as you said, it had to have been her choice, only because when you run through your mind with the people who left after one season, the Luke Knowles and the Brooks Whelans and the Lauren Holtz of the world, these people were on the chopping block almost immediately. They never found any kind of footing on the show. They disappear for months at a time, and you wouldn't see them in any sketches. That was not the case with Chloe. Was she dominating? No, but she had so many good moments that you could say, okay, this second season is going to be a breakout for her, almost like Sarah Sherman in her first season in a different kind of lane. So very, very shocking.
And do we have any precedent for this? Any precedent for a cast member leaving on their own accord after one season? It's been probably a long time.
Yeah, you have the 80s, the Steinbrenner year, but there were so many other machinations going on with that.
But if Lauren doesn't come back, right, then those guys come back, right? So I don't know. I don't know that we have any precedent for something like this. Obviously, Chloe has to, let us know herself what the reason she would be moving on is. But this is very surprising here. Let's talk about these new three people and everything that we have from all the information we have so far about these three people. I am expecting at some point some sort of press release from SNL, or at least, sent to our inbox. So we will read that out if we're on the air for that. Otherwise, next time we'll get into that a little bit. But here we go. So if you're watching us live, we do have pictures of all three of them on screen here. Let's talk about Ashley Padilla here. I believe that's how we didn't get pronunciation, so excuse me, but I believe it's Padilla. So Padilla comes from the Groundlings, according to Deadline. So it's been a long time since we've had a Groundling added to the show, which was part of SNL history forever. What I've been hearing, for what it's worth, is that, due to COVID and SNL being unable to go to some of these, sketch comedy, sort of like places where the people get developed for Saturday Night Live, and they've ended up hiring a lot of stand-ups. I think that ended up leading them to want to get some more of those people now for season 50. So I'm not surprised that they would want to bring in someone like Padilla, who comes from the Groundlings, who's been a member of the main company since 2021 here. Recently guest starred on HBO's Curb Your Enthusiasm. So it looks like that was, she played somebody named Dana in 2024 for an episode in Curb. I think the final season. Also appeared on Night Court on NBC in 2024. So had some stints. Look like her career is on the upswing. Padilla is repped by Odenkirk. So Odenkirk, that's Naomi Odenkirk, Bob's wife, and they represent some SNL cast members as well, like Heidi and some other people. So she does have representation. Then we have here Emil Wakim. Emil here is a Lebanese American. So great to get some more diversity into the show. Made his late night TV debut on 2022 on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. So that will be interesting to go back and check out that video to get some background on Wakim. He was selected as a new face of comedy at Just for Laughs Comedy Festival the same year. I was there in 2022 for Just for Laughs, so I feel like I should know who this guy is. He does look familiar. I have to ask Nicole, who I was there with, if we remember Emil Wakim, but that makes sense. Again, another breeding ground for SNL faces, Just for Laughs, which did not happen this year, so there was no new face of comedy in 2024 at Just for Laughs, though the festival is returning next year. Is open for Roy Wood Jr., Nikki Glazer, and Hassan Minaj. Also has representation by UTA, so definitely somebody on the upswing of his career. And then this one is very interesting for me, and I'm going to ask you guys your thoughts on these three. But Jane Wickline, first Jane we've had on the show in 45 years. Jane Wickline has built a strong following on TikTok, where she is a cast member on the live show Staple View. This is interesting, with her comedy bits amassing more than 45 million likes. So Stapleview, I believe, is, if I understand correctly, and chat, if you know anything about this, like, let's get your feedback in here. But I believe Stapleview is a TikTok-ish version of Saturday Night Live. So and there's been some reports about that, and what the potential and future is about SNL and getting on places like TikTok. So it very fascinating to me that SNL would grab somebody like this, a la Marcelo from last year, who has a huge following. So this was another, sort of the second in the line of this new generation of cast members. Her acting credits include the 2024 film My First Film, and she performs sketch comedy on tour. She's repped by Gershon Stapleview. So very fascinating. New 3 cast members here. Bill, let's get your thoughts on them.
Yeah, well, I mean, speaking of this last person, that's really, really interesting, and kind of where SNL has to go to get into the next generation, right? I mean, we've seen this with people who got big on YouTube in previous years. Please Don't Destroy had built up quite a reputation on different media sites like that. So TikTok seems to be the next logical point. Now, my only question would be, TikTok is these tiny little morsels of comedy and entertainment. How does that transfer to being able to do sketch comedy in a 6 or 7 minute sketch? So that I will find interesting. But of course, I mean, James Austin Johnson kind of made his bones doing his Trump stuff on various media sites like TikTok as well. So you never know. I'm excited. Glad to see more representation, as you said, John. Getting 2 more female cast members is definitely needed for the show. So yeah, this is exciting to see, even with the sadness of Chloe.
On these 3 cast members.
Yeah, it's interesting. So it seems like they got 2 sketch performers with people with sketch backgrounds and 1 stand-up. So especially with the stand-up, I'm going to be looking at the first 2 or 3 episodes to see if any of them can break through on Weekend Update at the desk. That's where I always think that new people, it's really great opportunity to introduce themselves. So Emil, Wakim being the stand-up, I wonder if he has any bits that he wants to take over to the update desk. So I'll be looking at all 3 of them from that angle. We've talked about the representation. I think that's a big thing. You said 2 women, and certainly with Ashley Padilla and Emil Wakim, I don't think they're obligated, certainly, to be a representative of any culture or anything like that. But I think there could be maybe an opportunity there as far as representation and however they feel comfortable, however they grew up culturally, to showcase any of that perspective. So I think it's exciting. We're always excited. It's like 3 new presents that we're opening right now. But just, first probably 3 or 4 episodes, let's see if any of them can break through, especially on the update desk.
Yeah, so as we're speaking, I did get the press release from NBC, so I can confirm that this is not just a leak. This is now official from NBC that did arrive in my mailbox. So I'll read out the bios for each of these 3, and now these will be the official bios from NBC for them, and then we'll head back to our regular coverage of the greatest host of all time. So here we go. Here is the official photo as of now for Ashley Padilla. Here is her. Ashley Padilla joins the cast of Saturday Night Live for her first season. Padilla has been a member of the Groundlings main company since 2021. Padilla is from the San Francisco Bay Area, and her birthday is May 27th. So that comes directly from NBC. And next up, we do have over here Emil Wakim. So I'll put up his photo here. Emil Wakim joins the cast of Saturday Night Live for his first season. Wakim is a Lebanese-American stand-up comedian, actor, and writer. He was selected as a new face of comedy at the 2022 Just for Laughs Comedy Festival and has performed on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. He was born in Chicago, and his birthday is March 11th. And then finally, here we go, Jane Wickline, the 3rd member of the cast. And just want to also note that NBC is not saying anything about Trost yet. So that news only comes from Deadline so far. Jane Wickline joins the cast of Saturday Night Live for her first season. Wickline was a cast member on TikTok's live show Stapleview and performed sketch comedy on tour. Wickline is from LA, and her birthday is July 1st. So those are the 3 cast members right now. These are the photos that are sent courtesy of other photographers. So just so you guys know that NBC, I'm sure, will have them in at some point this week to do official cast photos. But that's what we got here from Saturday Night Live so far. All right, Bill Kenny, anything else on this breaking news here on this Monday, September 9th?
Yeah, just kind of looking through all the one-time cast members, and I mean, there's obviously huge names. We all know the big names that went on to bigger things like Tim Robinson and Ben Stiller and things like that. But I think this is the most shocking to me since Keckner. But you know, even
Wow.
he had a lot of good sketches that year, even if he wasn't the lead. You know, he was behind Will and Sherry and Molly and all of those folks. But he had a lot of great characters that came onto the show, some of which we may talk about tonight in the host countdown. Yeah, it's been almost 30 years since somebody was only on the show for 1 year, and it just kind of is a wow that they're not coming back. So it's very, very sad to see Chloe go.
Yes, and there's definitely been some surprises of people either leaving the show or being let go from the show after multiple seasons. After one season, this is a very unique club that we're talking about here. So, Thomas, final thoughts on our new additions to the cast and the departure of Chloe Trost.
Yeah, I think some people in the cast were saying that Jerry Minor back in the early 2000s maybe left on his own accord after one season, but it's so rare, and that's the scuttlebutt in the chat right now. So I don't know how much we can trust these folks here to
we can trust them.
yeah. But so that's what they're saying in the chat, and I want to say for Chloe Trost, like, I'm a new fan. Like, I follow her on Instagram. I'll be following what she does, any videos she posts, anything that she's in. I always, with SNL, I'm in wait and see mode with rookies, just like in sports. Like, let's just kind of see how they do. I don't have high expectations, but I'm just kind of gonna let them grow. So that's what I was doing with Chloe. Became a fan of hers. That's what I will do with our 3 new cast members as well. So I think this is mostly a time for excitement, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm happy that we are at 17. I don't want Trost to leave, but I am happy that if they're going to add 3, at least we lost 3 and we're not getting like a bigger cast, because I do feel that the slightly reduced number from where we were a few years ago does make a huge difference in being able to cover the show and feeling like we're getting everybody involved. We went a lot of episodes last season without having a complete shutout. So very exciting for these new, we're going to miss Trost, but very exciting for these 3 new cast members who are joining the show in the biggest season ever. So let's give them an opportunity to see what they're going to bring to the show. Obviously, we're still 2.5 weeks away from, the show premiering. So they'll get their time to sort of get familiar with the routine of Saturday Night Live. But we're excited to meet Ashley, Emil, and Jane. And of course, we should have some more news at some point about who will be hosting those shows. So looking forward to getting into it. So we're going to get to number 5 next on this list. I do have some more breaking news. So this is one of the craziest shows here ever on the SNN. So if you're watching this live, this is history here.
Let me go tell my wife I'll be a while real quick. Hold on.
Okay, this is CNN. I'm putting on my Wolf Blitzer hat. More breaking news happening right here on the SNN. Here from Chloe Trost on her Instagram post. Hey all, I was going to wait to post, but deadline beat me to it. Unfortunately, I was not asked back to SNL this season. I wish I was going to be back with all the amazing friends I've made there. It truly felt like home, but it wasn't in the cards. I want to thank everyone who supported me, especially everyone who came to see my tour this summer, wore costumes from characters, and had such wonderful things to say. You mean everything to me. I hope I was able to spread joy and laughter, all love, onwards and upwards. That is from Chloe Trost on her Instagram post right now. So this is just shocking news as far as I'm concerned. One of the better first-year cast members I've seen on the show in a while let go from Saturday Night Live here. Just absolutely stunned by this news, Bill. Your thoughts?
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. That breaks my heart even more now. If she had left for her own reasons, then you can say, okay, go with it. But my goodness, what is the thinking behind letting somebody like this go, who had so many incredible moments in her season? Was she the star? No, but nobody is in their first year. So to have this kind of gut punch of her being let go for no discernible reason that we know of at this point, is really, really sad. And I'm very disappointed in my favorite show right now.
Thomas.
Yeah, same thing. Obviously, we don't know the machinations that happen behind the scenes, but as far as just like on camera work, this makes no sense. Like they've just purely speaking on camera, they've given more leeway to other cast members who had done less in their first season than they're giving Chloe right now. So like I said, that's just me as just watching her on camera. Who knows what happens behind the scenes? But I'm very, very disappointed. I mean, we would all just assume, like the way we were talking, it was like, oh yeah, well, it must have been her decision. Clearly it was her decision, but the way she phrased this, like I'm in total shock.
Yeah, this is really disappointing, if I'm being honest with you. I want to say a couple things. One is, I'm really not talking from like a place of that I'm like the be all end all of like knowing how to handle all these situations, but I think that if you are fired from your job, it is the respect should be given to you to announce the news yourself. And I would hope that, as you know, what we do here, we do get a lot of SNL news. I hope that we'll always respect that over here, and we'll try our best to. When Punky announced the news at her show, that was fair game. We got the Molly news before Molly announced it themselves on Instagram, so we waited for that. I don't think that Trost, in a time where she's being fired from her job, should find out that other people are posting about it. So that's just my 2 cents on that. But beyond that here, like I said, I think that SNL, as mentioned, has had some trouble finding with respect to all the new cast members who are definitely like learning the ropes. Like I said, SNL has had trouble finding their next great cast. They've been looking for stars for a while. And I do feel like Chloe Trost was an amazing prospect. This, to me, is one of the worst firings that I've seen in a very long time. This goes up there with Keckner, Parnell being fired. This is really bad. And I know I want to trust that everybody knows what they're doing there, and respect to them. These new cast members might be fantastic. But Chloe, I think, had a lot to bring to the show, and frankly had more potential than a lot of cast members I've seen come into that studio over the last decade. So yeah, not so happy.
Here. I hope she has a chip on her shoulder and gets motivated to do some really good stuff over the next however long.
Yeah, this just makes me want to go see her again in concert, because she was so fantastic. As I said over the summer, one of the best shows we've ever seen. She was so open and giving with the audience. We spent 20 minutes talking to her after the show. She was so excited. She was aware of the podcast and talked about her and others, listening or watching on Sundays after a live show. So yeah, I mean, just salt of the earth woman, and very, very sad to see this.
Yeah. Well, that's news on Chloe Trost. Same thing with Punky, who I spoke to. Same with Molly, who we spoke to, who are both, aware that there's an open seat for them if they want to come and talk about their experience. And I hope that they'll take us up on that one day. Chloe Trost, you want to come on? You want to talk about your year at Saturday Night Live? We would love to have you. You got a huge fan base over here at the SNN, so we'd love to get to talk to you about it, and certainly make everything positive, as she says. She says she hopes she's able to spread joy and laughter, all love. She absolutely did that in her first season, onwards and upwards. So wishing the best to Chloe Trost here. Hopefully that is it for tonight's show for breaking news. Okay. Boys, you ready? You ready to get us to number 5 on the list?
Unless Lauren steps down while we're talking about our number 5, I think we're just going to be smooth sailing from here on out.
Okay. All right. No more surprises.